Yes.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back inside the RMU-TV studios for another episode of Colonial Sports Center. I'm Tyler Gallo, as always, alongside Sam Goldberg. And Sam, we have quite a bit of sports for everybody home tonight, don't we?
Indeed. We have a lot to unpack here, especially on the lacrosse side of things. And, just looking forward to, being on show with you second time. So I'm ready to go.
That's
I'm all
right.
fired up.
Yeah. Speaking of packing, a couple of players have headed to the transfer portal as both Ashaya Klopfenstein and Justin Winston have entered. We'll talk about Ashaya Klopfenstein first. She was an integral part of RMU's core of this season before she went down with a torn ACL. And, Sam, this was a very tough loss for the team.
Yeah, honestly, I had Ashaya in my starting 5 next year, and this one really surprises me because she was probably one of the better players on this roster, and I guess she feels like she has a chance to, get a bigger role somewhere else, but I think her role is pretty big on this Colonials team.
That's right. She was the starting center almost all season. And by the way, she turned it on as the season went along. Before New Year, she averaged 5.7 points and 4.6 rebounds. And after the new year, she averaged 9.5 points and 5.8 rebounds. She became very acclimated to Division I basketball after transferring from junior college.
Yeah, and the same thing can be said, too, for our men's transfer as well. Justin Winston just entered the transfer portal a couple days ago. He averaged 8.7 points per game. Again, another player that really kicked it into gear as the year went on with transfers happening in the portal and stuff like that for Robert Morris. Was also a lone bright spot as well in the free throw column, averaging 86% from the charity stripe. Really a job well done from him. His role really expanded as the year went on, and I really think he proved himself. And we'll see if other teams think he proved himself as well.
That's right. He transferred in from St. Bonaventure, but he also had his season cut short due to injury. Just as he was turning it on, he fractured his foot at practice late in the year and missed almost, I believe, the last month of the season, so we won't see him anymore. But teams that were actually in action right now, women's lacrosse is one of them. They look to continue to remain unbeaten in MAC play as they took on their local rival, Youngstown State, a rivalry that's becoming one-sided. Let's see how they did in this one. And yeah, one-sided, that's right. 18-7 final score, an absolute throttling in the Big Y. Julia Coderos, 3 goals, tied a career high. Also in the first half, she tied that career high. And Jericho Obi had a hat trick. 10 different players recorded a goal in the game for the Colonials. And now we're moving on to the men's side, Men's lacrosse also was in action, we'll get into that in quite a little bit. But, there's a lot to unpack from the last game, as we said before. They headed to the Big Y. Let's take a look and see. I spoke with Cameron Macariola after the game. We were both there. Let's see how they did now.
Women's lacrosse took the short 59-mile trek up I-376 to Penguin Country to take on Youngstown State for some midweek action. The Colonials and Youngstown State both entered the matchup unbeaten in MAC play and were primed for some big action at Farmers National Bank Field. In what was a local rivalry matchup, the Colonials proved why they were top dog in the conference, making no mistake in an 18-7 rout. 10 different players recorded a goal, including hat-tricks from Colleen Tift, Julia Codevas, and Jericho Obi. Head coach Katrina Silva noted that the team didn't have its best game, but still found a way to win.
And we've had games where we've played great. We've had games where we struggled. We have games where we played great and struggled all in the same day, which was today. We had a couple minutes where we just looked like we didn't know what we were doing.
As the team stretched their win streak to 15 in MAC play, there's a lot to break down about their performances of late.
Tyler Gallo and Cameron Macariola here in Youngstown after Robert Morris women's lacrosse defeated Youngstown State by a score of 18-7. So Cam, first off, I want to get your fast reactions to today's game.
This is the Robert Morris we saw from last year, very dominant. They just controlled the pace of the game the entire way. It was a little close at the first, but then they just ran away with it.
That's right, and so we've seen this team really come together over these past couple games. They had a rough performance at UMBC, but they bounced back today. What can you speak on sort of the resiliency of this roster?
Coach Silva just always says that this is a young team, and they are. They're made up of a majority of freshmen and sophomore with core leadership at the upperclassmen, and they just keep building and building this team, and one day it's just going to be elite.
That's
right.
It
already is.
Yeah, it pretty much already is. Undefeated in the MAC, 15 consecutive wins in the MAC. Now, we saw 2 players win MAC Player of the Week, Maddie Griffin and Jenna Irwin. They kind of were held off the board today a little bit. Can you just sort of speak on their performances of late?
Yeah, a lot of star players in this game today. Jenna Irwin, Madison Griffith coming off the MAC awards, and then Youngstown had a couple girls who were ranked statistically high in the nation, and a lot of them got shut down today. Jenna only had 1 goal, came in with 22, a lot of multi-goal performances, and only 1 today.
That's right, and it was really a good game altogether for RMU. They controlled the pace from the start to finish. Any more things you want to say about today's game?
Yeah, with Jenna Irwin being shut down, the rest of the team stepped up. We had a hat trick from Jericho Obe, we had Colleen Tift, and the rest of the team just contributed.
That's right. It was a really good game altogether. But this has been Tyler Gallo and Cameron McCarry reporting live from Farmers National Bank Field in Youngstown, Ohio.
The team is set to take on Cincinnati on Sunday, hoping to right the wrongs from their loss last season. Reporting for Colonial Sports Center, I'm Tyler Gallo.
Now, staying with women's lacrosse, before we hop into take a look at the UMBC game, excuse me. I was on Colonial Sports Center a little earlier, and I said I think the women's lacrosse team is going to finish top 3, but I don't think they're going to finish first. I'm officially submitting my apology form. This team is incredible. They have completely dominated conference play, and now let's take a look at how they fared against UMBC. You see right there, the Retrievers. You know, they had their way against the Colonials. This game happened over the weekend before Youngstown State, and right there, UMBC, Claire Boxty, 8 goals. And then also, Diamond Garwow, 7 goals. She had a perfect shooting percentage, 7 shots on goal, 7 goals. You don't really see that nowadays in women's lacrosse. Also for the Colonials, Jenna Irwin, 4 goals, and Julia Coderwas, 3 goals to her name as well.
And after men's lacrosse was victimized at the hands of High Point a couple weeks ago, they were back home to take on Marquette as they look to, again, win and, start to close out their non-conference schedule with another victory in the books. Let's see how they did against the Golden Eagles. Move things here in the first half quickly right away. Eli Doyle finding some space on the side and burying it there. Knotting the game at one past the keeper. Very good goal to get things started here for our Horse, who would be firing on all cylinders in this game. It was a close game, but they still found a way to win. Some great ball movement here. 1-2-3, Jake Boudreau nails it right there, whips it right behind the goaltender. And again, that just shows how good this offense is. Jake Boudreau, one of the better players on the offensive side. Now we see a more good ball movement, and from the odd angle, Bobby O'Grady scores his team-leading 18th goal of the season to get Marquette back in the game. And then Taggart Clark, feeling 22, that's right, his 22nd goal of the season, gets the game, another 2-goal spread. Now, here's Jake Boudreau one more time. He's going to weave a little bit, dish it inside, and a nice rocket there from Taggart Clark. What a play that was, a little backhander as well. Interesting little run here. And then all the way downfield, James Leary, player of the week, we'll mention in a little bit, gets a nice goal towards the end of the half, a buzzer beater. That's not the last time you'll see this goal today. It was an impressive play there as Jake Stegman right here find their way back into the game, makes it 9-6. A nice goal. Marquette not quite done yet, but here comes the dagger. That's right, Ben Starkey. Extra sharp, they call him. Finishes off the hat trick one more time. A goal in 5 straight games. RMU wins it 10-7. And there's a lot to talk about after the game, so let's take it to the man who knows them best, Craig McDonald.
It's great to be in these tight games, right, and come on top. It's a great learning experience for us, right, the whole year. You want to learn from games past, right, and continue to get better and continue to move forward. And I think today we took a step in the right direction, right, to be able to execute down the stretch, right, and close it out and have a really good team win.
Gotcha. And speaking of the men's side, James Leary, as you alluded to, Defensive Player of the Week. Really strong impact for James. Earlier in the year against High Point, excuse me, against High Point, 7 contested shots. That's an RMU club record.
That's right. It's actually controlled turnovers, the record right there. But he had back-to-back games with 7, and then we saw that beautiful goal. He blocked the pass, he ran all the way downfield, and made no mistake. And that just shows how good the defensive core is of this team. But I want you to set an alarm. If you're falling asleep during the break, don't set an alarm for when we come back here in a little bit. We got golf and we got softball. Stay tuned here on Colonial Sports Center.
When I first saw a turtle, my heart was full. Now I'm anything but lonely.
We have this deep connection, this heart connection.
He just wants to be close to you and part of your life.
Every day with turtle is a perfect day.
When I'm holding her, it makes me feel calmer.
I think everything he does shows how much he loves us.
When we adopt a shelter pet,
We discover
they're a little bit of a lot of things,
but they're all pure
love.
If I could go back and change it all, I would. I think I'm gonna miss you the most. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Or maybe it's just the little moments. If I could go back and change it all. If I could go back, I would. But I can't.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly.
Lights out.
Good night. And put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back to Colonial Sports Center. Let's head over now to the softball field as, believe it or not, the Robert Morris University Colonials had their home opener. They played a lot of games but haven't had a home opener yet. They had their home opener against Akron. Let's see how they did in Game 1. You see right there, the Colonials did fall in Game 1 in their home opener to the Akron Zips by a score of 7-2. Taylor Reinhardt, who we're going to mention a little later, 1 for 3 with an RBI. And then also Morgan Cadmus went 1 for 1 with 3 RBIs. She had a 3-run home run that really put the dagger on the Colonials in Game 1.
That's right, and just a mere episode of CSC later, they were back in action for Game 2, but they fell by another bad score, 9-4. And Taylor Reinhardt, she had a good game. Definitely, she had a home run in the first inning, 3-run shot. Definitely had the best week of the Reinhardt sisters since when Rachel came into this game. After Jane Garwood didn't allow a run for 4 innings, she gave up 6 runs and took the loss as opponents fell by a score of 9-4.
Now, speaking of Taylor Reinhardt, she is our Colonial. She won Horizon League Player of the Week. She had an outstanding week on the West Coast trip, hitting 600, little above 600, contributing 5 RBIs as well. I mean, those are unreal, video game-like type numbers from Taylor Reinhardt.
Absolutely, and we spoke to Coach Jex Varner after the game, and he said they gave her a day off during the Washington series. By the way, that's her, her home base, and she got a day off, cleared her head, and she's come back firing. Now, another team that was firing on all cylinders this weekend a little bit was the golf team who was in action at the Carpetbagger Classic, one they are no stranger to. They were in action there last year. They finished 3rd. Let's see how they did once again as they finished in 2nd, moving on up. They did it. They fell just behind Rhode Island. Actually, they fell 13 strokes behind Rhode Island. That's not just behind them. But, it was a good performance altogether. The Josh Nagy actually won Chick-fil-A Student Athlete of the Week from RMU. And, yeah, like I said, they finished 3rd in the Carpetbagger Classic in 2020.
Yeah, Josh Nagy put up a 69 on the course. Finished -3. Did a really great job. You see right there, finishing even on the tournament, 144. And then Alex Seelig had a struggle in round 1 with 78 +9, then did a little better in round 2, going -1 and finishing +6. There you go, and there's the total right there, +5. Some other notable players from the golf tournament as well. Chase Miller and Xavier Schwartz both had a 74 round, which means +2, and Logan Hess also finished with +5. And when we come back, we got plays of the week, and our very own Kevin Popka calls out some Colonials fans. All that and more when we come back.
You told me not to talk to strangers. You told me not to cross the street without looking both ways.
You told me not to touch the stove. You told me not to do drugs. You told me not to drink and drive.
You gave me so many messages about how to stay safe. Why didn't you keep me safe by properly storing your gun?
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
Worried about your friend, but don't know how to reach out?
You could say, how are you, or get a fake tattoo. You could ask with an app if it works for you. You could chat with them in VR, it's all good. If you think you should check in, yeah, you should.
Whatever gets you talking. Reach out to a friend about their mental health. Whatever gets you talking. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
And we are back here on Colonial Sports Center, running back into the studio for another edition of the track team, who we're starting to get into the swing of their season. Colby Sherwin headed down to the island on the brand new track and field area, to break down what the team is going through right now.
Robert Morris track and field team is beginning their outdoor track season on Saturday for the Carnegie Mellon Invitational. Head coach Brian Delsate, thrower Jesse Valencia, and sprinter Brooke Oldfin all spoke about the upcoming season. They spoke about what they're excited for this outdoor season.
Indoors is, the way we structure our program, we try to structure our program to be our best during the outdoor season. So everything we do, even indoors, is kind of just preparing ourselves to get to the spring and get to the outdoor season. So we're looking forward to it because I feel like our team is built for outdoor track and field with the makeup of our roster and the events that we're strong in. So yeah, we're really excited. Just can't wait to get going outdoors.
I would say, hopefully we come together as a team and try to get better placement in our conference this year.
Definitely just getting some good meets in. We've all worked really hard throughout indoor, and I think we're ready to finally get outside, get some good performances in, and see what we can do.
After that, they brought up what will be the biggest difference for the outdoor season from the indoor season.
For me personally, my main event is actually only in the outdoor season. I run the 400 hurdles, so pretty much all year is working towards preparing for outdoor.
Indoors is just like how it says indoor. You're limited to what you can run, throw. There's only a couple events that these girls are prepared for. So the outdoor is you got sun in your face.
One meet that the entire team is excited for, particularly Delsite and Valencia, is the home meet happening on April 22nd through the 23rd. This will be the second straight home meet for the track team after they renovated the track during the off-season.
Definitely our home meet. I'm excited that we're able to host one again this year, and now that we have a new track, definitely excited to bring more on-comers, especially get the support from the school and our family and friends.
I think the meet that we get most excited for is actually our home meet, because last year we were able to host a meet here for the first time in 7 years, and now that the track's been resurfaced, it's always fun to have a meet at home where your athletes get to compete in front of their friends and family and their classmates. And so we have a really nice schedule set up for the entire outdoor season, but we're really excited to host some teams locally and have a meet here on the island.
Finally, they all spoke about who they're excited for to see compete and who they think will continue to step up as the team looks to continue to improve.
All of them. Everyone's works really hard, and I think everyone's ready. I would say all of our outdoor events that we don't have for indoor, jav, hammer, 400 hurdles, everyone's working really hard. So for those events specifically, I'm really excited to see how everyone does.
A couple of good, especially Sierra, our Javy. She's excited. She's been waiting all year. She's definitely one to look at, as well as Estelle, our captain, for the discus and shots, and Shaq for sure. Guitar.
Even during the indoor season, our throws were kind of the highlight of our season. We have some really good upperclassmen throwers. Kachira Hunter is a defending champion in the hammer throw. Estelle Contende is the defending champion in the discus. Yessie was the indoor champion in the weight throw. Yessie Valencia, she's also a runner-up in the discus from last year. So we have some really strong kids coming back. And then on the track we have a young group of freshmen and mixed with some upperclassmen. So we're really looking forward to getting it going outside.
The track and field team looks to continue to build on the improvements they made in the indoor season when they finished 5th in the Horizon League Conference. For Colonial Sports Network, I'm Colby Sherwin.
Now, earlier in the show, you said that Ashaya Kloppenstein and Justin Winston transferred. And those were kind of shocking because they had really big roles with both of their respective teams. Now, going into next year, their roles could expand, but was one reason that they transferred due to lack of fan support? Our very own Kevin Plaucha kind of breaks that down.
Both the Robert Morris men's and women's basketball seasons have come and gone, and the biggest, most glaring issue was the lack of fan attendance. Both teams averaged less than 1,000 fans per game, which doesn't sound too bad when you realize that the event center holds 4,000, but when you take a deeper dive into the numbers, it gets a lot worse. The men's team averaged just 891 fans per game, while the women's team averaged just 301. Besides the fact that these numbers could be inflated by media members, the staff at the event center, etc., it also doesn't take into account the students and the Colonial crazies that leave at the half. I'm not the only one to take notice of this though. as Century alum John Fisher wrote an article about this all the way back in 2014 when the Soul Center was the mainstay for both basketball programs. It held just 3,000 people at the time, which made it an even less of a glaring issue than it is today. It's time for the UPMC Event Center to really buckle down and try and get people excited and try and get the people back to the games to fill up the UPMC Event Center. Back in 2020, when Robert Morris men's basketball won the Northeastern Conference Championship Tournament, everyone stormed the court. It was a sellout. It was amazing. There was so much magic in the air, but now 2 seasons later, that magic has seemingly run out. The Event Center needs to do a better job of getting the word out there to people, the casual fans especially, of why they should be excited for this upcoming season. TJ Wainwright, a 3-star recruit, recently committed to the Robert Morris men's basketball program for next season. And the women's team is loaded with young talent, and they won 14 games this season compared to just 4 last season. They're on the rise as well. There are many reasons for people to be excited for this team in the upcoming seasons, and the UPMC Event Center needs to do a much better job of getting the word out to people. For Colonial Sports Center, I'm Kevin Placha.
And you know, Tyler, I really agree with what Kevin has to say there. The whole team together really has to do a better job of marketing their players. And it really shows. There was a really great support in 2019, 2020 when they were in the NEC. You would see more than 1,000 fans per game with the brand new UPMC Event Center, and just kind of the way that the team's success as well had a driving factor in bringing fans to the game. But you know, we've seen kind of similar giveaways that's been happening every year, kind of like, and it's just kind of copy and paste. The Colonials, they really have to do something to really market this team and get fans into the stands.
Well, that's right, and you know, the novelty of the new arena wore off pretty quickly. I mean, all the teams that played in the arena in the 2019-20 season all had probably some of their best seasons in franchise history. We saw volleyball just lose 1 game in the conference. Same thing for women's basketball. But, you know, obviously, you know, COVID kind of messed that up for last year. But the fans really aren't coming back. And the biggest issue, I think, is just, you know, again, lack of social media presence around the teams, lack of knowing who is actually on the roster. As Kevin said in his article, I don't think anyone on the campus could name a player on the men's basketball team besides you know, Khalil Spear, and I don't really think anyone can name anyone on the women's basketball team, despite half of them being on the roster for 4 years. So honestly, it's just tough to really gauge on what's going to happen. But if you want to get more on this, and if you actually want to read this article that Kevin put together, make sure you head to colonialsportsnetwork.com. We got you covered with all of Colonial Sports, all of Robert Morris Athletics, and you can also follow us on Twitter at RMU_CSN. We do the best coverage of the teams for anywhere. So make sure you follow along, and just if you're interested in Robert Morris sports, make sure you tune in. That's right. When we come back, we got our top plays and we got our games to watch. So you'll want to watch for the rest of the show.
Yo, Scott.
Hey.
I'm heading out, man. You want to ride?
No, I got my car, but I actually really need to go to the bathroom.
Oh, you know what? I was just in there. The line is like 10 people long.
You know, I think I'll just...
Dude, are you okay?
You wouldn't believe what I was just thinking. I am definitely buzzed.
Yeah.
I think I will take this, and I will take that ride home.
Smart man.
Did you see how that dog was looking at me?
Oh, hey, welcome back to Colonial Sports Center. We got top plays for you, so let's throw it right into there and get ready for a lot of men's lacrosse. As we start things off with number 5. We saw this before, but let's bring it back. So nice to see it twice. Of course, the good dishing, call it lunchtime. Move it down low. Bobby O'Grady with the odd angle. Again, 18th goal of the year, the bad angle shot, still buries it. Marquette, was really close in the first half, and in the second half, they just fell off.
Moving on to number 4, Dan Tadeo has ball, surveying. Now he gets the ball, running up the field. He's surveying, he's looking, finds Corson Keeley, who absolutely fires it into the net right there. Robert Morris will take a 2-1 lead. 6:36 play.
It's pretty impressive, and we got more weaving in addition here. Jake Boudreau weaving around, moving, looking. Where's he going to go with it? Turns around and comes back. Does it again. Finds inside the backhander from Taggart Clark. I mean, what a goal from Taggart Clark. Look at this. Backhander, boom, right by him. Whoosh!
Oh man, Gallo, that was a fantastic play. But number 2, let's grab a look at number 2. Jake Stegman, spinning, looking, just over the shoulder, blindly fires it and scores. I mean, my word, what a shot. Twist his body, contorts his body, just got it over the shoulder of the goalkeeper. And Jake Stegman, number 2.
That's good, but not nearly as good as this one. We talked about this before. The player of the week, James Leary, look at this. Blocks a pass, gets the ground ball, running all the way downfield. The dive, he can't get him. Moves it forward, all the way downfield, open space. There he is, wham, right into the net. And, I mean, James Leary, look at this. Just what a goal that was. I don't know what more you can say about it. All the way downfield, buzzer beater, really everything going in his favor in that situation.
And if you really liked men's lacrosse, they have a lot of interesting games along with women's lacrosse and softball. Our schedule expertise, Cameron Macarliola, has some upcoming games for you.
Thank you guys. It's a busy week up ahead for RMU athletics, so let's jump right into it and see what's going on this weekend. First, we got men's lacrosse as they will take on in-state rival Drexel. The last 2 years, Drexel has defeated the Colonials, so when asked about the anticipation of this game, Ben Starkey said it's a revenge game for them. The face-off will be at noon at the Joe. Women's lacrosse, after yesterday's MAC win over Youngstown, will direct their focus for Sunday's game as they will host their final non-conference game against Cincinnati. Last year, these teams met and Cincinnati picked up the 17-6 win, so this will be another revenge game for the Colonials. Face-off will be Sunday at noon. Softball is looking to bounce back from a couple of tough losses to Akron to get back to their early winning ways, as they will get some Horizon League action as they will travel to UIC for a 5 o'clock game on Friday and a doubleheader that starts on Saturday at 1. Last week, golf spring season began and the Colonials placed second out of 14 schools at the Carpetbagger Classic. This weekend they will go down to Maryland to take part in the battle at Rum Point. Track and field is going to Carnegie Mellon on Saturday to compete in their first outdoor event of the year, the Carnegie Mellon Invitational. And finally, rowing season starts in Virginia on Sunday as they will partake in the Equan Sprints. That's what's up ahead for RMU Athletics. Now back to you guys.
Thank you so much for that, Cam. And now with all those games he just said, what are you watching this weekend, Gold?
Well, women's lacrosse has a big matchup against Cincinnati Sunday, March 27th at the Joe. Last time Cincinnati took the game 16-7, but with the strong play of Robert Morris, I really think they have a chance to beat Cincinnati. Your players to watch right there. Jenna Irwin, 22 goals on the year, 23 points overall, but look at Kylie Noss, 31 goals on the year. That's insane. 7 assists also to her name, giving her 38 points. So these two could have some monster days here at the Joe.
And that's right. And Sam, I'm seeing diamonds in the sky as we head to the Diamond for softball. They were in action at home. Now they go to the Windy City to take on UIC. The last time this team will play UIC as a member of their conference. Anna Resnick is the player I'm looking at this weekend. .417 on base percentage. That's all well and good. But look at Tara McElligott. She got a 12.03 OPS this season. Been the lifeblood of the UIC softball team. And then really, one of the just... this team, the softball team, started off really well, and they had a tough road trip in Washington. Now they're back. What do you think they do in the Horizon League for the remainder of the season?
I said it earlier when I was on the softball team. They're going to take care of business in the Horizon League. They had a rough West Coast trip, but you know what they say? The West Coast, brings out the best. Yeah, it's not the best coast. And I really feel like the Colonials will be at their home in the Horizon League, and that's where they'll dominate, just like they did last year.
That's right, and that's probably where we'll see some of their better pitchers on the mound. They had Madison DeVoe, they had Jane Garver. Jane Garver pitched really well in that Akron game, and then an interesting decision to pull her, brought in Rachel Reinhart. She kind of just fell apart, and that was really the story of the weekend. But that's all we got for you. I want to make sure you tune into all the Colonial Sports this weekend as all the teams are in action. And thank you once again for tuning in on Colonial Sports Center. I've been Tyler Gallo for Sam Goldberg. We will see you next Thursday.